Last night I was out here adjusting the timing, and I'll go over how that's done in another one if I haven't already. And I noticed that after the car had been idling a while, I got in to take it for a drive around the block, and the temperature gauge was up really high. And I got out and noticed that neither fans were working. So last night I did a little research and come to find out that the fan over there is dedicated to cooling the air conditioner condenser, and the fan here, tucked underneath that part, is for cooling the radiator. And that they're on two separate circuits, and if you're not running your air conditioner, that one would never get powered. Regardless, that one was not running at all. And so I came out now and I've looked, trying to find the relay, which according to some research is a possible cause. This is a fuse box, and in it has a number of large fuses. The one here on the end, the 30 amp one, is for the cooling fan, and I checked it and it has not blown. So now I have to do some research as to where the actual relay is that gets the signal from the computer, I suppose, to turn on power to the fan. Oh, one other thing. I needed to also check and make sure that it wasn't the fan itself. So I disconnected the plug that provides power. It has two wires going into it, the blue one and the black one. Black is generally regarded as common ground throughout. So I brought power on this set of cables here, and 12 volts, and the fan did power up. Okay, I'm pretty certain that these are the relays for the fans. In the back are 4 contacts, and there is a way to check those. This was the plug going into it. 2 of these would signal the relay to close. The other one would be 12 volts in and then 12 volts out from the relay, feeding the 12 volts out to the blue wire on either the air conditioner fan or the cooling or the coolant fan. So that'll be what I'll check next, is continuity from one of these contacts to the blue wire over by the fan. And then from there I can probably swap these two and see if that makes a difference, because I don't need the one for the air conditioner anymore. And it would be hard to believe that they both failed at the same time. So even though we're having fun troubleshooting, I'm probably going to have to pull out the wiring diagram. Anyway, I've got the red alligator clip of this 2-wire lead connected to here, this red lead with a probe on it. And if I come to one of these connectors here that was going into the relay, and again, I didn't really know which was which, but the blue wire is the one closest, there you go, closest to the firewall. And if I touch that contact, the air conditioner fan starts up. All right, if I do the same thing on the other fan, nothing happens. And all right, hold on a second. I reconnected here. I did not reconnect here. Yes, I did. So many things going on. So that one is reconnected. I wonder where that goes. Finding things when I'm not expecting to. Alright, so come here and touch the one closest to the firewall. That contact gets me nothing. I also sort of found the same thing when I was doing a continuity test. It almost seems like there is a break between the wire to the connector in here And sadly, that connector is way down. Like I said, I did a continuity test and nothing happened. So that certainly signals it. This would be 12 volts coming from power when the engine is on, and then these two would be the circuit that opens and closes the relay. So it appears the problem is not with the relay, which I'll still try to test, but with the wire that goes from here to the plug. I was going through things I could try to fix this. You know, run the air conditioner fan instead of the cooling fan, but it seems to draw a different amount based on the amp rating. The AC fan here is listed as, or the AD fan, which I'm assuming is the air conditioner, is 20 amps, whereas the main cooling fan is 30 amps. It looks like it is slightly larger underneath there. So maybe what I'll do is just try to pull loose that connector, which is jammed underneath, hiding there. So it looks like I'll be removing the air cleaner next. So, wiring diagram for the coolant fan system. Switch power goes through the 30 amp relay, which I've checked. Goes through the cooling fan relay, which I need to find. And then goes to the motor through a connector there. It says that the yellow wire is power, and then somewhere in here there's ground on the other wire coming in there. Actually, it says black on the motor, yellow on the connector. So I look here, and lo and behold, coolant fan relay hidden in the driver's side fender area, not up here. That's only the air conditioner, and who knows what the other one is. I don't care right now. I'll put all that back the way I found it. So let's go searching for this. So I've got the air cleaner assembly out of the way. I'll remove that hose, and I'll remove the windshield, or the coolant overflow tank. And it should be hidden back in there somewhere. So there it is, hidden down in that fender behind the radiator overflow. So I'm going to remove it and then test the leads, make sure I can power the fan, and then if that is all okay, I will check the relay. If it checks bad, then I'll use the one that was to control the air conditioner condenser fan in its place, and then we should be good to go. So I have one probe into the terminal on this connector to the yellow wire, and then I have the other probe of my multimeter, which is acting as a continuity tester, to the terminal on the connector there. And we are showing, let's see if I wiggle this a little bit. There we go. We are showing connection. So the next thing to check would be moving this to ground, and then touching ground, and we have ground. So then we can try bringing power in. So after much cleaning of the terminals on that connector, mostly on the blade side as opposed to the socket side, I was able to get it to almost reliably work. And I'm going to zip tie this end back against that little bracket and go from there. Put everything back and test it again. So let's see if we can do this one-handed. Testing my one-handed skills. So what I did was, on the connector I discovered which pins on the back here control the closing of the relay and which pins are actual sending power to the fan. So these top two, we'll call them, are ones that get 12 volts to signal the closing of the relay. And at that point, then a higher current runs through the contacts down here on the bottom. So the first check of a relay is when you apply 12 volts to this control circuit and you hear the click. That is the relay closing. Once the relay is closed, then you can check across the terminals. So you can see that the points are closed. We have no resistance. So now you heard the relay open. I'll pull these off. At this point, we should see no change in the continuity because it's an open circuit. So the relay is good. I will put it back in. Really can't check that connection, although I did check it after I zip tied it. So we're going to put everything back together, including those air conditioner relays over there. Got a couple patches here, and the weld through primer is drying on the back side, and once that is dry, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday, by the way it's Friday evening, I will weld them into the opening, which if you remember from before is fairly long, but only through the outer layer of sheet metal. And so that patch is going forward, and that patch, vision it flipped around, will be on the rear portion of that opening, closer to the rear wheel. So I've put in a bunch of welds, and then I've wire brushed them off. And it's not rust, you're just seeing a reflection of yellow tile. Anyway, the plan is to shoot all this with primer once the garage and the car warms up. And then I put a seam sealer over it, smooth that as I'm putting it on, and then shoot red paint over it all, just rattle can it. This was just to close it off. Again, we're talking a track car, not a show car restoration job. So we'll go from there and move on to the other side. Well, it's not pretty, but it'll get the job done. And the seam sealer will fill in the cracks. And it's the same thing on the other side. So once the self-etching primer cures, then I'll hit it with some red.